A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So I'm going to try to change it up a little bit and hopefully make it a little bit more lively. I have prizes in my backpack. You can't see them, so you won't know what they are until a few people get them. So inshallah, that will help motivate you guys to participate. I wish I could come down, but well, maybe I can. I'm gonna try it. That way it'll be easier for me to give out the prizes. The recorder, I still have the mic on here. Oh, I can't do it. Sorry, guys. Anyways, real quick, how much of your current income, percentage-wise, do you guys think you need for retirement? 25%, 50%? Anyone that raises their hand and answers, comes close to the answer, you can just come up and go ahead. 15%? Okay. 4% of your current income. So if you make $50,000 a year, how much of that do you need? Do you need 50,000, 40,000? What do you think? Right here, Amul? 20%? Okay. 80. All right, he came closest, so he wins the prize. You are going to get a book. Come on up. You had a baby in your hand, so I didn't want to disturb you. The book is on Islamic investing and personal finance. It gives you a brief summary of how Islamic finance works. I have a few more, so inshallah, please continue to participate. So the answer is you need about 70 to 80% of your current income to survive at retirement. So if you think about it, just think about maybe about 100%. So if you're making 50,000, that's what you need. Now people think, why do I need that much? My wife, who also works, she asked me about a year ago, she's like, oh, you know, whatever, we won't need it. Inshallah, we'll be done paying off our house. You know, hopefully the kids will be done with college. I'm like, okay, so let's think about this. Sadly, we live in Illinois, and we live in Crook County, Illinois, as anyone that lives in Illinois might know. So I'm like, you know, do you think we'll still have to pay taxes? And she's like, yeah, we probably will. I'm like, you know, our taxes are probably going to be $1,000 a month. That's how much most people pay for rent in other cities, by the way. She's like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you know, if our kids want to buy a house, you want to help them? She's like, yeah, that would be nice. And my wife happens to be Syrian, so I said, you know, you help your family in Syria. Do you still want to be able to do that? She's like, yeah, I want to do that. And then my wife said, sorry guys, I forgot to start the timer. She said, yeah, I still want to help my family in Syria, you know, and I said, okay. I said, you know, we try to go to the masjid to donate for the Islamic school. Our kids go to Islamic school. Do you still want to do that? She's like, no, I'll be done donating. And I'm like, okay, well, inshallah, I'll still want to donate. So I said, if you keep all that in mind, you'll understand that you'll need about the same amount that you make now. So we have to plan for that. So how many people think Social Security is going to be enough? No one. Okay, that's good. That's a good answer, but make sure that answer is in there. What do you think the average Social Security pays on a monthly basis? 7,000? 1,000 a month. That is the correct answer. It's between 900 and 1,000. You want to come up and get your book? That is the absolute correct answer. Social Security, if it is around, pays between $900 and $1,200 a month. So keep that in mind when you're planning for retirement, how much of that you think will fulfill. Now, if you are like me and live in Crook County, or Illinois goes bankrupt by then realize that just to afford to stay in your house will probably be all of your Social Security checks, so you have to make sure you save. So how do you save? Now, a few people have talked about this. Brother Nasser did a very good job of going into the different types. If you have a 401k at work and they match, make sure you are maximizing your match. And there is a very good chance that you can buy one of the Islamic funds through there. The Amana funds, which has been around for 33 years now, mashallah, is on majority of the major platforms. Fidelity, Schwab, my wife works at Amida Health System. They have Schwab. She just buys the Amana funds directly through there. The Vanguard, any of the big ones that you can think of, we're on there. Someone came yesterday and they asked about Lincoln Financial. We're also on there. I had to double check that one because it's not the one that most people use all the time. So just keep that in mind, that in your own 401k you can do it. And if you don't have one, then make sure you start an IRA with any one of us to make sure that you're saving and that you're saving halal. Now, people wonder about the current environment. Everyone thinks, okay, you know, everything's losing money. So let me see from everyone, who do you think loses money when the stock market goes down? Sorry? People who sell. That is a wonderful answer. Come get your book. I also have pens. If you don't like to read and you want a pen instead, I'm happy to give you a pen. Thank you. So people who sell. So let's think about this a little bit. If you are well diversified, and what does that mean? People that lost a lot of money in the last downfall, especially we saw the car industry go through a lot of trouble. They lost money because they worked at GM and all their retirement funds were with GM. So when GM went out of business, they lost it all. They lost their job and they lost their retirement. Now, if they worked at GM and they had a well-diversified portfolio, if there were any of the Islamic funds, any of the mutual funds that diversified, the retirement funds would have most likely stayed intact as long as they didn't sell on the downturn and they're diversified. Because within a couple of years of the downfall, it had already come back. Actually, alhamdulillah, our funds had not gone down as much, and within about a year and a half, it was already back to the point it was before the downfall had started. So this is something that should really, if you guys are really worried about the market, this is a good time to go back and see, okay, Amana has been around for 33 years in one of their funds, 24 in the other funds. And if you took a combination of those two and you just held 50-50 in each, you would have a steady, a little over 10.5% return annualized over the last 24 years plus. So just keep that in mind when you're doing it. Majority of the people that I talk to, when they're in other funds, they're like, oh, American funds, oh, Fidelity funds. I'm like, okay, look at your returns. Look at the amount of returns. They're like, wow, I could have done better. And completely stay Sharia compliant. As Brother Nasser already mentioned, we obviously stay out of all of the sin stocks, the alcohol, the riba, the stuff like that. So keeping all that in mind, alhamdulillah, throughout the years, we've been able to, our first two funds that we had are large cap. What does that mean? First, let me just step back. Thank you very much. What does mutual funds mean? Mutual fund means a group of stocks with a like-minded goal. And it could be a mutual fund of pharmaceutical companies, mutual fund of biotech companies, a mutual fund of restaurant companies. That's probably not one you want to invest in. Or it could be a mutual fund with the goal of staying Sharia compliant, staying away from all of the haram and staying in the halal companies. And then you can be a mid-cap, which is a middle-level companies, or large cap. So both of our oldest funds are large cap. They're in the large 500 companies. And then within that, you have between 30 and 60 companies in each. So you would have about 110 to 120 different companies. And being large cap and also being Sharia compliant, staying away from debt, is one of the things that really helped the Islamic finance institutions weather the last downfall when it came. The last thing that I'll mention, and inshallah we'll open it up to questions and answers here for everybody, is that if anyone has a 401k or if they have their own company, and if you try to do the open brokerage or the self-directed options and you're able to get the Islamic funds, that's one of the easiest ways to save. If you have your own institution, if you have a medical practice, if you have a small business, if you have an engineering firm, and you want to start a 401k so that you can save in Islamic finance, then that's something that we're also able to do, and we're able to do it at a low cost, even for your Islamic schools, for your masajid, of only $750 a year. So a lot of the non-for-profit organizations that are here, a lot of the relief organizations that are here, a lot of the Islamic schools from New York to Chicago to LA, they use our 401k platform, which again, the cost of the institution is only $750 a year if they don't match. If you match, then it costs a little bit more, but that goes directly to your employees. And that gives yourself and your employees the ability to save, or your teachers the ability to save for retirement. Because as Brother Nasser had also mentioned, it's important to save early. He mentioned the example of saving at 25 and 35 and 45. Just to give a rough example, if you save about $5,500 a year, you'll have about $1.2 million with the rate of return of 7% by the time you're 65 if you start at 25. If you wait just 10 years, you'll have half of that, less than 560. So think about that. If you start at 25, the same amount of money a year, you'll have 1.2 million. You wait 10 years, you'll have half of that. Now this is my last point. So the people that are over 25, I'm not trying to say this is the worst news in the world and, khalas, I might as well just go home and live in the, in the cat house in the backyard, or my kids built a little clubhouse. That's not the point. The point is to start now, start early, and that might just mean that we need to do a little bit more. I ended up starting a little bit later in life because I wasn't sure where my company was investing things, and I keep hearing this from people that stop at our booth. So keeping all that in mind, I have more books. I wasn't able to give them out. I have pens. We all have brochures. So if anyone wants them, inshallah, after questions and answers, either come see us here or see us at the booth. With that, I think we're going to open it up for questions and answers, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.